this be a normal field trip? With a friend? No way!
Welcome back to Eagles Exclusive. Today we're here with Mr. Aldred. He is a teacher here at Harlan High School, and we're going to ask him a couple questions about what he does in the school. So my first question is, how did you become involved in the cadet teaching program?
Actually, by chance. A teacher, Miss Demjen, was interested in creating the program. It was seen in our state that we needed to grow young teachers. We were having trouble finding applicants to fill our positions, and so she had the idea to create a cadet teaching program here at Harlan High School, where we would take our students and put them in classrooms and build them up with some confidence and some skills so they could be leaders. And she created it. She got it passed by the board. She went through all the steps. And then there was a position opened in central office to be an English coach to coach actual teachers in our building. And so she took that position. And so they needed to fill the cadet teaching program with a new teacher that hadn't started it. And Mrs. Gregory came to Mrs. Wozni and I and asked if we would consider the class. And we agreed to teach the class if we were allowed to do it together. And so for the first 2 years, we were co-teachers, and I taught first semester and she taught second. We built up the program enough that it has enough for two lead mentor teachers, and so we both teach it now. We're just finishing up our fourth year.
Oh, wow. So have you enjoyed teaching it so far?
It is an absolute blast. I come from a history background, and so the classes that I teach other than cadet teaching are history related, and it's academics, so you're in class and you're learning material and learning those skills. And so to move into a more career-oriented class where you get to teach content, build up the skills of your student, and then actually watch them do what you've taught them in front of other kids, it's been a real rewarding experience.
And I'll say it is on the student side, because I had you for law and criminal justice. It was such a fun class. So my next question is, being a teacher, what unique advice can you give to the students to help them succeed?
So were we just talking in general to all students, to you criminal justice students, or to specifically the cadet teaching students?
I would say to all students.
So I think the biggest thing that we as teachers can instill in our students is a love for learning. Mm-hmm. And learning takes many different forms. And so you spoke about criminal justice, and I always try to take an active role in teaching and put that active learning onto the students, to where the students feel like they're doing what they've been taught. Mm-hmm. And if you can kind of instill that love for learning, whether it is active or whether it is reading or writing or anything, if the students love what they do and they enjoy that whole process, they're going to be much more successful, not only in higher education, but really in life in general. That love for learning can really spark some real creativity in their brain and some desire, and typically they're going to outwork their classmates if they love what they do.
When did you discover your love for learning, or was it kind of just you were always into learning new things and building on that?
No, I'm not going to lie and say that it's always been there.
Yeah.
I was an average high school student. I came here. I had a great time in high school. I did okay. I was a B average student. I tried, and I did really well on tests, and it kind of made up for my lack of maybe completing assignments. But when I got to college and I really settled in, 2 weeks in, I settled in on being a teacher, and it snapped right at that moment, and that light bulb went off, and I had a purpose, and I had like an end goal, and so everything else kind of fell into place, and I worked really hard, and I actually had a almost 4.0 grade point average in college. And I don't know if it's how common it is to have a higher grade point average in college than in high school, but I am one of those students.
Yeah, that's impressive. So now you've been a teacher for how many years now?
This is my 14th.
Wow. What could you say your favorite thing is about teaching and helping students out?
Yeah. I don't know if this is cliche or not, but it's you guys. If I wouldn't do this job if I didn't enjoy working with young minds. You guys bring a new challenge and new joys and new excitement to every day. And what happened yesterday, it doesn't necessarily matter. You start fresh every day, and today could be the day that light bulb goes off for you. And if I'm a part of that moment, it's so rewarding.
Yeah. So I guess back to more of the cadet teaching. Do you think the experience of that class helps students stand out in applying to colleges and other higher education programs?
I do. So over the course of the last 4 years, we've put through a lot of students, and we're getting close to putting 100 kids through our program so far in the 4 years. And they're not all going into education, and some of them weren't even going to be in education when they started the class, but they were looking for a class where they got to be a leader. And I think that is the one thing that does set our students apart from others, is they are in charge of their own class. They get to be a mentor to young kids. And so they get to have that experience that we have as educators. They get that same experience with elementary age kids or intermediate school, 5th or 6th grade kids. And they get to be a role model. And that is super powerful, because when you realize that you are a role model, it makes you work harder, it makes you try harder. And to be honest, we went to a Saginaw Valley field trip this year where we were there with a bunch of cadet teachers, and the professors of their education program pulled us mentors aside and had a little side conference. And they said that they are actively recruiting and figuring out how to give incentives and credit to current cadet teachers, because when they show up at Saginaw Valley, and this was just one case, and I'm sure it's the case at all colleges, they are more prepared than other freshmen, because they've already had an experience where they've had to work hard and be a role model. And if you look at and track their grades, one, they stay in college till the end. They're now tracking cadet teachers stay in the profession of teaching longer than kids who were not cadets. And so they just set themselves apart of the other students. And so, they do set themselves at a higher standard, which I think is super important to higher education.
Yeah. I think it's so good, too, to, like, teach younger students, especially, like, how to take responsibility for their own education and stuff. I think that's another huge aspect of that.
Right. Like, Andrew, if you're in at 6th and 7th hour on Tuesday, and you're teaching 5th graders that they should be doing their homework, and they should be reading to love learning and all those things, and then you come into my class on Wednesday in criminal justice, even though it's a different class, you're going to want to do those same things. You're going to want to read. You're going to want to do your homework. You want to be a good role model. It kind of is that full circle where you get to do what we are asking you to do, and then you get to tell other people to do it. And it's just kind of that circle.
And definitely that's one great thing you do in your classes, too. I remember when I took your class, we had the presentations that were 5 minutes. And Mr. Aldred loves to do this thing where if you don't make it to the time that he sets, then you got to stand up there in front of the class. And I remember I was a little nervous, and I went up there, and I just talked the whole time, and I wasn't expecting that I could do it. And I was like, wow, maybe I'm good at that. So that was definitely a great thing I love from your classes for sure.
Yeah, maybe you're sitting in this chair now because of that experience.
Yeah, maybe. So the last thing I want to finish with is students that are thinking about joining the cadet program but aren't sure yet. What would be something you would tell them or give them advice?
I mean, my advice is if you are on the fence and you think that you want to take it, you should absolutely take it. Because there's I've always said this about career-oriented classes. You're either going to check yes, I'm interested in continuing to follow this dream and being a teacher, or at the end of the semester or the end of the year, you're going to check no. I want no part of this. And if it is just as powerful to say no, I don't want to do this profession, as it is to say, you know what, I think I want to keep going and try. I think I might like to do this. Because the more we check no, eventually we will settle in on the one that we do check yes.
Yeah.
So if you're on the fence, give it a shot. You won't be disappointed.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Aldred.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Eagles Exclusive. Today, I'm joined with Brooke Legault. Thanks for joining us, Brooke.
Thank you for having me.
So, what school do you teach at, and what grade do you work with?
I teach at Creekside Elementary School, and I am with 2nd graders.
And who is your mentor teacher, and how has she guided you throughout your teaching experience?
My mentor teacher is Ms. Carpenter, and she's guided me by not only inside the classroom, but outside the classroom. I think she's made me more confident in my abilities and just social skills in general.
So what made you be a part of cadet teaching and the program?
So originally in my sophomore year, I had Aldred as a teacher as a different subject, and he was pushing this teaching program, and it sounded really interesting to me because I wanted to be a teacher at the time. And so I decided to take it my junior year, so this is now my 2nd year I'm in it. but I just wanted to be a teacher, so I joined the program.
Yeah, I think the program's really nice. So what does a typical day in like this program look like, and like have you had the chance to like teach full lessons to a class on your own?
Yeah. So the typical days are a little bit different for everybody, considering everyone's in a different grade. But for me, I normally get there, get the kids from lunch. We go and do a reading/writing lesson, and we used to do social studies at the time, but it kind of switches around. And then I normally take them in small groups for different reading levels and reading skills, and I just teach them and help them read books and stuff like that. But for other people, you can go to any different elementary school. It's not just at Creekside. And you can go to like Farms or Creek as well. So their days definitely look a lot different than mine.
That's cool.
And I have also had chances to teach full lessons. It's part of our like curriculum.
Yeah.
So
Would you recommend this program to other students, and like why would you recommend it?
I would definitely recommend this program to students who even don't want to be teachers. I'm not going to be a teacher anymore, but I love the program because I like working with kids. And it's honestly just like an eye-opening experience. You get to see how little kids act like around teachers and also around substitutes, and just see how their energy changes. So it's really fun and different every day.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Brooke.
Thank you for having me.
We're here with Addie. Addie, what is your favorite thing about the cadet teaching program?
Probably going in and seeing the kids every single day.
Cool, cool. So after your first year in this program, was there anything that surprised you?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to go into my school and be treated like a staff member, so I think that was pretty cool.
Cool. Why did you decide to continue to being a cadet teacher?
Because I really wanted to get experience with a different grade, and I want to teach in the future, and so building that area of like kind of mastery with being a student teacher, I thought would really help for the future.
Fantastic. So you want to teach in the future. What grade do you want to teach?
Probably first grade or kindergarten.
Why first grade?
I think they're at the perfect age where they're not like missing their moms every single day, and you can still like have fun with them, and it's not too hard to like get them to understand what they're learning.
Yeah. So what real life experience has this opportunity given you?
I think in my placement, you're kind of like an actual teacher, so it's giving me an insight to what my future really is going to look like.
Nice. Do you think having this experience will help you later on, such as when applying to colleges next year?
Yes, I've actually already applied and been accepted to the college I want, and right now we're just trying to get my credits from Cadet to kind of transfer over and help me kind of opt out of some intro classes.
Nice. Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Cruising on down Main Street, you're relaxed and feeling good.